right before the Romero thing, so it's perfect. And welcome back. The issue of identity is one that continues to perplex many people. Who are we? How do we fit into the greater culture? Our guest today, Dr. Felipe Sanchez-Paris, represents a number of communities. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, David.
Felipe, I know that one of the things you're most devoted to is how communities work together, how eclecticism really becomes a whole community. And you work with a number of organizations, the Bayview Opera House here in San Francisco, and also the Diocese of California. Not the Catholic diocese, the Episcopal diocese.
Correct.
Let's just start out, how is it in 2011 to be openly gay and married to an Episcopal bishop in the Episcopal Church?
It's very exciting, very dynamic, because the Episcopal Church is changing very, very rapidly. An article today that was sent to us related to the fact that there is a schism within the Episcopal Church. Schisms are very healthy for our church.
Why do you say that?
Because it causes creativity. It creates an energy that churches need to have, that churches need to get out of their comfortable shoes, as it were, and become more in sync with what the people want.
Now, we started by talking about identity, and you have a multifaceted identity, many communities, many peoples that you've come to, and in your teaching and your work with your students over the years, you have now come to be a member of the Episcopal Church, but that's not how you started.
No.
Talk to me about your journey. How did you come to be a member of the Diocese of California?
Well, I would say that probably the best way of describing it is a story of my aunt. I was sent to my aunt. I was a child that was misbehaving, and in Latin families you have an aunt who is the disciplinarian, and I was sent to her. And so she decided that the best way to drive home a message was to take me to a chapel where there was the Pietà, which is the
famous statue of Jesus in the arms of his mother.
And as I was kneeling there and she was beside me, she said, "Now, do you see what that son did to his mother?"
This is Catholic guilt.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. So raised in that kind of atmosphere, it is a wonder to me that it took me so many years to be able to come out and say I was gay, because of that severity of that image that a little boy had.
Now, you know, I heard someone jokingly say once that the Episcopal Church was the same religion as Catholicism, just half the guilt. Do you think that's true?
Well, I think no. I think Episcopalianism is a lot more than just less guilt. The Episcopal Church, for me, has become a beacon, a mainline church which is willing to go into schism on behalf of the rights of women, for gay and lesbians, for immigrants. So the Episcopal Church is, in my mind, one of the most advanced churches in regard to progressive thinking.
Now, you're in a sense very much part of the schism,
yes.
Because in your non-work life, you are married, legally married in the state of California, and your husband is a bishop of the Episcopal Church.
Yes.
That must raise a lot of issues when you go to Episcopal functions.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful examples. When I first went to a bishop's meeting, there is a group called the Bishop's Spouses.
But it was spouses, or do they call it wives?
They called it Bishop's Spouses.
Because, of course, they have
yes.
women bishops now, yes.
But then, after my appearance, and then after Gene Robinson's husband, Mark, appeared at those meetings, the spouses then changed their name to Spouses and Partners. And it's been an interesting ride, watching very, very proper Episcopalian bishops' wives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I imagine that's kind of a niche there.
Yes. Being able to move in the direction of modernity and acceptance and accessibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, you mentioned Gene Robinson, who made history as the first person who had been an openly gay priest who then was elevated to the bishop's chair. Your husband, Otis Charles, was the first openly gay bishop in any Christian church.
Correct.
And he still holds his seat in the House of Bishops, correct?
Correct.
So, talking about this schism, is this a schism that you're trying to heal, or are you still kind of agitating within the church as a member of this Episcopal Spouses Club?
Well, first of all, my husband is 85 years old, so he has seen quite a dramatic change in the church. And I think that Otis is able to see the changes that have occurred and know that the changes that we hope for will ultimately happen.
Yeah. Speaking about another bishop, Bishop Oscar Romero.
Yes.
I know you're very involved in the legacy of him. Talk to me about who was Oscar Romero and why it's important that we pay tribute to him, and specifically as LGBT people.
Oscar Romero really did something that very few bishops of our churches have done, and that is basically gone up against the government and literally ordered the military to stop killing the people.
And this was in what country?
El Salvador.
El Salvador.
Yes. And that was an act of love on his part, because he said, out of love, you cannot kill your brothers and sisters. Out of love, you cannot discriminate against your brothers and sisters. Out of love, you must accept all of your brothers and sisters. So his message is a message that I think is very important for all of us to hear today.
And it's a message that got him killed.
Exactly. He was martyred because he felt very strongly about this.
So talk to us about, you say he was martyred, which is true from the church's point of view, but a newspaper person would say he was assassinated.
He was assassinated.
Who killed him?
Cold blood. It was a member of the paramilitary that was ordered to kill the Archbishop after he made this statement to the military.
And what was El Salvador's government's response to this?
Oh, it was incredible. At his funeral, at Romero's funeral, the National Guard, at the orders of the government, began throwing bombs and shooting people in the plaza that were in mourning for the Archbishop.
And how has his assassination, now 30 plus years ago,
Yes.
affected the current state of the church and the government in El Salvador?
Well, first of all, the church in El Salvador is facing a criminal element, drug trafficking, which is making El Salvador one of the most crime-ridden nations in Latin America. The drug trafficking has been incredible. Our bishop, our Anglican bishop there, Bishop Barahona, was almost assassinated by one of these hit squads.
So it's still going on?
It's still going on.
So here in San Francisco, in just a few days, there's going to be a tribute to the memory of Bishop Romero. Talk to me about that and why that's important. Last year, I know actually then Mayor Gavin Newsom actually attended. Yes. It was a huge ceremony at Grace Cathedral. I was there for it.
Yes. Well, significantly this year, it's being held at the Basilica of Dolores.
Mission Dolores.
Yes, which is in and of itself a statement in terms of that being one of the founding missions of San Francisco. So San Francisco owes its origins to that mission founding. The second thing that is important about it is that we have a number of community-based organizations participating and supporting our effort, and are going to be doing a series of receptions afterwards, and children doing artwork, discussions about immigration. But the most important thing is that it is being held in the mission with interfaith commitment to the mission, and that the mission, as a community, will address these moments of violence that are occurring.
So this tribute to Bishop Romero will be on what date?
On the 26th, Saturday at 10 a.m.
of March at Mission Dolores, 16th and Sanchez in San Francisco.
Correct.
In our last minute, talk a little bit about another organization that I know you're very passionate about. You're on the board, or used to be on the board, of the Bayview Opera House. How does all this fit in, your commitment to communities of color and being a gay man as well? You see an overlap of these issues?
The Bayview Opera House is dedicated to the children of the Bayview. It is dedicated to bringing to the children of the Bayview arts, culture, performing arts, so on and so forth, related to increasing their opportunities, increasing their chances of succeeding in life. Well, the same holds true in the mission.
So it all comes together.
Yes, it does.
We've been speaking with Dr. Felipe Sanchez-Paris. Thank you for your work on behalf of all of our communities, LGBT and the disenfranchised. I'm David Perry. This has been 10%. Thanks for watching. We look forward to seeing you next week.